everyone. In this video, I'm going to be exploring the Okta environment. So Okta is an identity provider solution that is built off AWS, and it is kind of like the same as Entra, but Okta excels mainly in the customer identity and access management. I'm going to be exploring the Okta ecosystem, and here I have set up a test developer account. And once you set up your test developer account, this is the first interface you're going to have. Um, Up here is the dashboard, and you can see you have all of the options just like in the Entra ecosystem. So to add a user, you can import users, you can import groups, and you can even import apps and set up single sign-on for them. But we'll pick it up from the most basic level. So you come to directory, you come to people. Here I have just myself. So to manually add a person, you click add a person, and here you just set up the information of the person. So I'm gonna do that now. So once you fill in the user's information, in this section I'm using the domain um, the domain name as the email address, the username email address. So the password, you can set the password to be set by the admin or by the user themselves. So once you set the password, you can send the activation email to the person, and then you simply save. And if you want to add another person, you go ahead and do that. But in this case, this domain is not bought. It's not uh, so I can't receive the email to this domain. I'm just using it as a test example. So we're just gonna save this, and then we have a person added. Um, so that's just how it is, and then we go back to the dashboard. So back to the dashboard, you can see if there are tax recommendation. It will tell you to do that. That is, it is telling me to assign a super admin. That is like a global admin in the entire ecosystem. And here you see the security measuring, monitoring. This is like Entra recommendation, advisor recommendation, and then these are the audit logs, like the organizational changes that you've made within the directory, and these are the apps that you've onboarded if you have onboarded any apps. So there's also a rate limit to the monitoring. So maybe something is triggered, you can get the limit. If the limit is triggered, you can set up limit events, notifications, and stuff like that. So the first thing you need to do is I think you need to do is you set up your organization um, information. So you come to your settings, you click on account, and here you can see that most of the information here is by default. So when you click on this section, you can edit the organization name and change that to Ryan. Then the phone number, we can put whatever is necessary. So I'm just gonna fill all of this out. So once this info is filled, you can also fill in the billing information, um, you know, for them to bill your account for the resource that you're using from Okta. And then this is Okta support. This is like giving access in case something goes wrong in your environment and you want to give permission for them to debug it. And then end user support. That is people trying to contact your organization, you can set up this information for them. And then if you have a global admin, you can set up the global admin information like email notification, global notifications, and system notifications and stuff like that. And the other informations are just limits and stuff that you can set depending on your ecosystem or your organization's requirement. So the next section is the feature section. These are like some features that you can try out or that you can apply to your ecosystem to help you be more secure or to process automation much quicker. But it says here that you should try them in a preview organization, which is a test environment, before applying them to your production environment. So you can see app setting permission for custom admin roles, block synchronized passkey for FIDO2 authentication. So when you have a FIDO2 key, the access code or the pass key is synchronized or is saved, for example, in your other directory or somewhere, so you can block it or activate it. There is so much here that you can, so many features here that you can, try out in a test environment depending on your company's requirement. And then in this section we have downloads. So these downloads are basically agents and extensions that you use to integrate Okta with other providers or other resources outside of the Okta workspace. So you can see if you have an Active Directory, a local directory, you can use this to synchronize it. I'm actually going to try this out a bit later. And then there are other, agents and extensions. These are extensions that you can try out if you want to integrate a Linux server and all of that. Radio server, you can do all of that with this. You can do all of that with this. And also you have the end user apps, the plugin also. You have that here. So I'm just gonna show quickly how the user onboards themselves into the Okta tenant. So for this, I've created a new user, and I've used an actual email that I have set up. So I have allowed Okta to send the invitation email to the customer, to the staff, or to the user. So we're gonna check out what the email looks like. Okay, so we have the email here. Welcome to Okta. So you click on it, and here you see, hi Jan, your organization is using Okta to manage access to your web applications. This means you can conveniently access all the applications you normally use through a single secure home page, and blah blah blah. So if the user wants to activate themselves, we're just going to go through the flow. You click on this, and just just one moment. You can see there's an expiry date for this. It expires in 7 days. So let's say the user did not activate it within that 7 days, or for one or more reasons, the link or something here is not working. You can simply come back here and resend the activation email. Now, something you should note is when there is an error with the user's information, let's say, for example, the email address, when you change it in the username login, you should also change it in the primary email. So corrects itself and any information is relayed appropriately. So here, because we have selected users can set their own password, we're going to do the password configurations now, and then we'll see what it looks like. So once you set the password, you'll be brought to the user home page. In the Entra ecosystem, it is the My Apps portal. So if within the tenant, within the organization, you have some apps assigned, you can see them here. Or if some apps in your organization are set for you to discover them yourself, you can find them, either request permission for them depending on what the workflow is, and then you can add those apps from this section. When you have notifications, you see them here, and basically this user has onboarded herself into the organization. Now when you come back to the Okta page, you can see the user is set, the status is set to active. For the previous user, it is set to pending user action because the user has not onboarded themselves into the organization. Now, let's say you want to specify more information about the user profile, or you want to edit information about the user. You simply click on that specific user, You come to profile, and here you can edit. Now, this edit button is only for users that are not synchronized from another tenant or another organization. So let's say you synchronize users from your local Active Directory, or you synchronize users from an Entra domain, or let's say you are doing a B2B, which is organization to organization. You would not have that edit button because they are not um, how do I say it? They are not native to your organization. So that is that. Also, you can assign roles from here. If there are any admin's roles that you want to grant, you can grant admin privileges, and the roles assigned, you'll be able to see them. There's also groups. You can assign the users to group, and here you can also assign applications to the specific user. So that is that about users in the Okta ecosystem. So another way to onboard users into your Okta environment, this is more in the automation side of it, so it's a bit faster, especially if you want to onboard multiple users. You come back to the people section, and here you click on more action. Now, when you click on more action, you have this that says import users from a CSV file. A CSV file is basically like an Excel file that has columns and rows where you put in specific information, you upload it, and the system synchronizes it. It automatically identifies the properties and it uses it to create the users. Now, let's say, for example, you're new to the Okta ecosystem or to IAM as a whole, you don't know what information you should provide. Once you click on this, you can have a template. So you download that template and then you fill in the information into the template and then you upload back the CSV. Once you upload back the CSV, the system will do that. So we're going to download the template. Template is downloaded. Let's click on that. We're opening it with Excel. Just this one. And this is what the template looks like. You see the login, first name, last name, middle name, um, honorific. So you can play around with it. You can edit the tabs so you can see it properly. The email address. So every information here is the it is every information here what properties are going to be filled into the user profile in the Okta tenant or in the Okta organization. So give me a moment, I'm just going to fill some users in here and then we'll upload back the CSV file. So with Okta, there are some important information that you must provide on the CSV file. It is not important that you fill in every column in on the CSV file, but some information are very important. So the first one is the login, which is going to be like the username that the user is going to log in. The first name has to be provided, the last name has to be provided. You can skip the middle name, you can skip the honorific prefix. The email address is very important. You need to provide an email address. You need to provide a display name. And then if you want, you have to provide a nickname, which is going to be like an identificator. And that's it. So you can ignore all of the other information. And then you go ahead and save that. So once that is saved, you simply come back to the Okta section and then you click on browse, download. This is our CSV file, open, and then you go upload. Oh, okay. So now the CSV file has been phrased successfully, and then you go next. So you confirm, do you want to automatically activate the users? Um, so depending if you want, if you are onboarding like federated users that use a different identity provider, then you click on this. But no, if you want to automatically activate your users, you click on this. So let's go import users, automatically activate and import users. So two users imported, two users have been created, there are no errors, and that is done. So we wait for this to refresh, or we can refresh it here. And here we see these are the two users that we have added. So that's how to create users from a CSV file. Something noteworthy in Okta is the user status is three. We have active users, deactivated users, or I mean, on the outside there is also deleted users, but the third one is a staged user. So let's say you onboard a user and you have not activated the user. The email notification has been set to the user, but the user has not received activated it, or maybe even the invite email has not been sent. The status of the user is going to be recorded as staged. So that stage means the status is dormant or is stale. So if you add a user and the user is like, I never received any email or something like that, you go to the people section, and in the status you definitely you're gonna see staged or pending action. So you can do that. So you simply click on the user and then you activate, and that's how it goes. So now that that is done, we are going to be looking at user types in the Okta ecosystem. So to do that, you come to Profile Editor, and this is the default user type available in Okta. So when you click on this, you only see the Okta default. If there are apps, you see them directory. If there are identity providers, you see them here, like the developer SSO user. So to create a new group, a new user type, you can click here, and here you specify the name. So let's say it is guest in this case, guest, and then you go guest. You save that, and here you have guest user type. When you click on it, it gives you the list of all the attributes that can be associated to this user in case you want to do um, attribute based role assignment. So you can see all of these attributes here, but you can also remove some of the attributes and you can create custom attributes. So when you click on edit here, um, uh, you can set a description, you know, whatever you want, depending on what type of users you have created. And here you can delete. There are some that cannot be deleted. For example, the username must be provided, the first name, middle name, things like that. And if you look through this, you see that the attributes look the same like what was on the CSV file. So let's say you don't want them to provide a manager ID, you can edit that. One moment. Okay, so now I'm understanding that all of these default attributes cannot be deleted. So yeah, so this is all. These are the base. You see they are not as much as the all, and then you can also create custom attribute. So to create a custom attribute, you can, set the type of the information, what it's gonna look like. In this case, it's gonna be a string. The display name is, let's say, for the guest users, we want them to provide um, purpose, purpose. So why do you want to be onboarded? I mean, it's not specific, but yeah. So if you want to set the number of what the number of characters that they can provide and things like that, you can do that with this display value and what it should look like. There is the same thing on Entra, um, and then attribute length greater than, less than, and then the minimum number of words, the maximum number of words. Is it compulsory for them to provide this or not? So depending on what you want to set, and then you save it. You can also save and add another. So when you scroll down to the bottom, one moment, let's wait for it to refresh. No, all. So when you scroll down to the bottom, you can see purpose, and here you can edit it. Also, for this ones, you can also edit and you know just like that. So that is about creating user types in Okta. So let's go back to the profiles. So next I'm going to be talking about roles in the in the Okta ecosystem. I'm so sorry, I'm too used to Entra, so I'm saying a lot of Entra. The roles in the Okta ecosystem. Now, for that, you need to come to administrators, one moment, security, and then you click on administrators. Now, when you come to administrators, this is the number of total admins you have, the individual assigned. It just gives you like a summary of what's going on. And here you have roles. Roles are, the permissions that an assigned identity is allowed to exercise. So these are the default roles, and you can see there's a description about it. When you click on it, there is another tab that pops up and it gives you more information about what a specific role entails, what a person can do, and yeah, that's that. And I don't know, in Entra you can't edit custom roles, but yeah, also the same here. You can't edit the roles, but you can assign them to people, and you can edit the notifications that the admins in this role can get. So yeah, that's that. So let's say, for example, you have someone coming into your organization or someone that is being promoted, and you don't want to just give them all of these roles. You want to maintain least privilege, so you can create a custom role. So to create a custom role, you click on this icon and you name the role. So in this role, let's say we want a security reader. In Entra, we have someone that is a security reader, or let's say a group administrator. So let's say group admin. So it fills itself out. So here you can search for the permissions by their name, and you see, or you can just go through it from the full list. So we're going to, load up the arsenal of this admin. So can they create users? Let's say yes, they can create users, and they can edit a user's attribute. So can they activate users? No, I don't want them to be able to activate users. Can they delete users? No. Can they suspend users? Yes. So you can see as you're selecting the option, the Asana is loading up, like the roles, the permissions that you are assigning is um, showing on the left. So can they unlock users? Yes. And can they view users and their details? Yes. Then you keep scrolling down. Can they edit group membership? Of course, that's what the role is about. So see here it says it is required to add a user to a group. Admin also need manage group membership permission. So if you want them to add users to group, so manage group membership permission, we need to find where that is. Yeah, see, manage group membership permission. So you're giving them like every permission to view group and all of that. So that's that. And let's see what more we can add to this row. We keep scrolling down. No, they don't need that permission. Keep going. No. Yes, they can view, create, and manage Okta support cases. Can they manage applications? Yes, they can view applications and their details, um not the full thing. So yeah, so let's just leave it at this. Once you are done with all of that, you click save role. Now in Okta, when you create a custom role, you also need to create um the resource set. A resource set is like an kind of like a management scope, a management scope of resources that you can scope a permission to, or you can scope a role to. So let's create a role set. Let's call this I don't know. Let's just call it Paris, Paris team. And here you can add resources. So you click on the drop down. Now users, yes, all users are selected users. Let's go with all users. Save that selection and then add another resource type. Groups, definitely, because that is what the role entails. You click on that, you save it. What else do you want to add? Applications, yes, because some applications can be assigned to groups. So you do that, all applications or maybe selected applications. When you click on selected applications, then you have to drop down to choose what application. So you choose that, you save that. On the group section, you can scope that also. Let's say you have some groups, you can do that. So you save that, and then remember we allowed this admin to be able to raise support ticket. So you do that and you save, and now we can create this. So we have created the row. So now we come back to admin. This is the only admin that we have. So let's go back to overview, and you can see this is the audit log of what we have done. You see row created, group admin, and all of that. So yeah, so if we want to assign an administrator, you can add it from here, or you can do it from here. So this is the role that we have created. You see that you can't click on it to give you like the list of the permissions. So you click on edit. See, you can view all the permission. You can this is the assignment that those are the admins assigned to the role. You can edit the permissions of the role. You can delete the role, and you can edit the role notifications. That is, what notifications they receive. So let's just cancel that. And here we want to view and edit assignment. So to add an admin, let's add Jan, and you see it pops up, and now you click the scope. What are you scoping this permission to do? Because you don't just want them to have this permission for your entire organization or your entire tenant. So you scope it to the resource set. You can preview it. It gives you the list of what it does, and then you save the changes, and you can see administrator assignment has been added. And when you come back to directory people, you click on that user, you click on admin roles, and you see the role has been added. The role has been added. So you can also edit the individual role assignment and all of that. So that's all for this section of the video. In the next one, we'll be exploring groups in Okta, and um, see you on the next one.